from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. Just about half the work week in the rearview mirror. Thanks for hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Casey Gaines and Jacob Beck back there on the ones and twos with you till 3 o'clock. In 15 minutes, we'll go up to South Bend, Indiana, and chat with Tyler Horka. Tyler covers Notre Dame. I want to talk to Tyler about Logan Diggs, LSU's newest commitment on the running back side. You've heard my thoughts on Diggs. I want to get Tyler's as well. And the Saints just drafted a Notre Dame product in the second round. Isaiah Foskey will get Tyler Horka's thoughts on him as well. Plus, the rumors that swirl around with realignment. Does Tyler have any thoughts on what Notre Dame may be thinking at this point? It is a What If Wednesday, 1:30. We'll get into some what ifs. If you got some, throw them at me in the Bayou Ford chat right here on YouTube or on Twitter at HuntPalmer88. I'll try to make y'all some money at the end of hour number one. In hour two, I want to dive a little deeper into realignment talk and some of the things that athletic directors are saying over in the ACC. Sounds like two athletic directors got into a yelling match in the bar of a hotel yesterday. So there's some fireworks in the ACC meetings. There are regional projections out from Baseball America. And of course, as we always do on Wednesdays, we'll chat with Chris Demui at 2:30. We will start, though, with LSU and McNeese last night. Like y'all, I listen to this channel a good bit. I listen to it in the car. I usually try to see what Charlie's talking about right before me, just because, generally speaking, there's going to be 1 to 2 topics that are going to dominate the day throughout our local programming. And I'm often interested in what other people on our station have to say about it. More often than not, we're going to agree on most things. I think a lot of the talent on our station thinks about things similarly. There are certainly differences. You can find plenty of differences between me and T-Bob. Right? You can find plenty of differences in background between Jacob Hester and Charles Hannigan. Like, understand, but I don't think there's a lot of hot take artists on this channel, and I don't think there's a lot of contrarians on this station. Like, I think we're fairly in line. And so when I hear something that I see differently, I think, oh, that's interesting. And I hope that the listener would feel the same way, that they may agree or disagree one way or another, but that it's interesting. And Charlie talked about the LSU McNeese game last night on his show and said basically, LSU won. That's probably the most important thing. It was an ugly game. LSU didn't play very well. They used a couple of pitchers they probably shouldn't have, but otherwise, no really big storyline from the game. That might be right. But I don't have to try that hard to find a storyline from last night. Because if I asked you, any LSU fan, I think 100% would give the same answer if I said, what concerns you about this team in the NCAA tournament? I think 100% of the staff at LSU, of the fan base, of our staff here on 104.5 ESPN, anyone who follows the baseball program, what's the concern? Well, it's pitching. Okay, well, you know how this NCAA tournament is set up. You know that you're going to get a host seed, and you're going to play a 4 seed in a regional. And Paul Skeens is not going to pitch in that game. And when I talked about LSU and McNeese yesterday pregame, I was going, I don't think they'll use anybody for any sort of length. They want to have everybody ready to go against Georgia. And then I was watching the game, and they had the LSU Sports Radio Network broadcast synced up with it. And Chris Blair said he talked to Jay Johnson pregame, and Jay said they were going to let Blake Money go as long as he could go. And that sent alarms off in my head. Because that, to me, sounds like a guy who was treating this game as he would the regional opener. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's wild to explore the thought. Because you saw Blake Money start the game, and you saw him run his pitch count up north of 60. He's not pitching tomorrow. Not that Blake Money is one of your highest leverage guys in a Paul Skeens game to this point in the season, but you get the point. They did burn him for tomorrow. And then you went to Griffin Herring, and you ran him up to 45 pitches. And then you went to Sam Dutton. And what do all these guys have in common? Money Herring, Dutton, they've been stretched out in their LSU careers. These were not guys that Jay Johnson went to said, hey, get this guy out. He's trying to extend. And then I think most of you would say that Gavin Guidry and Thatcher Hurd are among the top 2 or 3 trusted relievers on this team. I went into a whole diatribe on Monday that none of them have stepped up and become trusted. But if you have to pitch someone in a big spot, wouldn't those be the guys you would go to win a game? It felt like Jay was playing this like Friday of a regional against a team that has got 4 seed written all over it. Wouldn't surprise me at all if McNeese won the Southland tournament in Lake Charles on its home diamond and got sent here. Baseball America has a projection for their regionals. They got Nichols in Baton Rouge. Off the same field in the same tournament to the box. I think this was a look at a Friday. So if it was, what would this have left LSU with? If they'd have gone out there, they'd have won the game 7-4, didn't play all that great, but you did the job. You won the Friday regional game. What would Saturday look like? Well, of course, at that point, you're playing the winner of the 2-3 game with Paul Skeens on the mound. And your pitching staff looks like this. You could not throw Blake Money if they were playing today. He threw 57 pitches last night. You couldn't go to Griffin Herring. He threw 45. I think that's a little unreasonable for a freshman. And Sam Dutton threw 39. But Gavin Guidry threw 15 and Thatcher Hurd threw 4. So you would go into a marble game of the regional Saturday night in the box with Paul Skeens on the mound, and your bullpen would have Gavin Guidry, Thatcher Hurd, Riley Cooper, Nate Ackenhausen, Javen Coleman, Christian Little, and Bryce Collins, basically. And that's kind of what you're looking at. And then you hope that Skeens has 7 or 8 in him, and your bats score 9, and he gives up 1, and you just find a way to get the last 6 outs. And then you go into Sunday just about loaded for bear as best you could. That did not work against Mississippi State. I know. I was there on Saturday. I got you. But I think it's worth the discussion at this point in the calendar to say, is that what they were looking at there? And quite honestly, like, if that's the way you want to go about a Friday to keep Ty Floyd from pitching, I think it's the right thing. We'll discuss this 2 weeks from now, when the bracket is revealed and we have the matchup. I think Jay in his mind thinks, man, after watching what I just watched from the bullpen against Auburn and against Mississippi State, I know that I'm going to have to use that collection of guys to win a game by themselves with no help from Skeens and no help from Floyd. I'm going to have to use that set of bullpen guys. Do I trust them Friday against the 4 seed and chopping it up 5 or 6 ways? Or do I give the ball to Floyd, who I feel like can get me through 6 or 7 innings against the 4 seed, then go to Skeens, and then try to use this collection of guys on Sunday against a team that's better than the 4 seed, but down the line in their pitching? And to me, it probably makes the most sense to try to figure Friday out with a collection of arms. Money, Herring, Dutton, Guidry, Hurd. If you need Cooper, throw him in there. You need Ackenhausen, throw it in there. Just go with 6 guys on Friday like you did last night, and then give the ball to Skeens and say, hey, man, 5 1/3 is not an option tonight. We need 7. That, to me, sounds like a more solid plan to throw Ty Floyd on Sunday night, try to win the regional, than it does to try to do what you did last night against McNeese to win a regional. That's what it feels like to me. The 4 seed's going to be intimidated by the environment. They're going to walk guys. The shortstop's going to kick a ball around. LSU should be able to do what they did last night and put up a 7 spot. Hopefully it's more. But I feel like that's a better path. To me, collection of arms, Skeens, Floyd, sounds more realistic than Floyd, Skeens, collection of arms. I can see it the other way. say, hey, we're going to crush pitching on Sunday night and Monday anyway if it gets there. Just make sure we get there. But I'd kind of rather have Ty Floyd in my back pocket. And this team is uniquely, well, it's not uniquely positioned, but it's positioned in a way that there aren't like 3 bullpen guys I know I don't want to use on Friday because I need them Saturday. Is there a huge difference between Gavin Guidry and Thatcher Hurd? Is there a huge difference between Riley Cooper and Sam Dutton? Is there a huge difference between Griffin Herring and Nate Ackenhausen or Thatcher Hurd? Like, I don't have a guy that I'm really trying to stay away from using because I need him on Saturday. It's not an enviable position. It's not a perfect position, but I was watching last night, and when I heard Chris Blair say they were going to let Blake Money go, and, you know, he gives up to 5 hits, and one was a bunt hit, and then he throws some fastballs middle, and they hit a couple through the infield and hit some line drives. But in theory, Blake Money could give you 5 innings on a Friday for regional. I don't know if I'd bet on it, but he could. He's not going to miss a lot of bats, but he's going to throw a lot of strikes, which he did last night, and he's going to be competitive. You figure if one of those 5 singles is just a ground ball right to the shortstop instead of through a hole, you may get deeper into the game. You may not have to use the 5 pitchers you used last night. But that's what it felt like to me. Big swing from Hayden Travinski. Big swing from Cade Beloso. Braden Jobert continues to get on base. He walked and then had an RBI single up the middle. And big swing from Tommy White. He had 2 more hits going nuts. So your offense still seems to be okay to me. You're just trying to figure out the way to figure pitching out. And really, it's most important that you get it figured out for the NCAA postseason. I'll give you some more thoughts on LSU's postseason standing when we get into the second hour. I've got some Baseball America projections, and I'll kind of give you some comparisons to where Baseball America thinks some teams are slotted versus where LSU is. So we'll get to some more baseball in the second hour with that, as well as our chat with Chris Demui. What If Wednesday coming up in 15 minutes. If you got some what ifs, go to my Twitter at HuntPalmer88 or hit me up in the Bayou Ford chat right here on YouTube. When we come back, Tyler Horka is going to join us. Going to tell us about LSU's newest running back, as well as the Saints' newest pass rusher. That's next.
This is on Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Charles Hannigrove joins us for the Wednesday edition of Hanny Time. Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated about the SEC meetings and more conference realignment. Scott Rabelais from The Advocate and First Class, Second Class, No Class. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Chris Demui with us talking baseball in an hour and 15 minutes, as he generally does on Wednesdays. Let's head out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline now, though, and chat with our guy, Tyler Horka. Tyler covers Notre Dame for Blue and Gold, part of the On3 network. Tyler, thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good to be back on with you guys. I miss talking SEC ball and all those things back from my days covering Mississippi State. So when you texted me, I was like, let's go. Let's do it.
Well, it's our pleasure. Look, Notre Dame's relevant in South Louisiana because of the last couple of weeks. I want to talk about Logan Diggs as well as Isaiah Foskey, who the Saints took in the second round. But let's start with Diggs, who's been a productive player just by the numbers in Notre Dame the last couple of seasons. But what kind of player is LSU getting in the former Fighting Irish running back?
Yeah, a really good one. Someone who can be a number one running back anywhere. Notre Dame, LSU, anywhere in between. This is a guy who has the total skill set. It's a guy who last year was probably Notre Dame's best pass-catching tailback, and he caught some really big touchdowns. One of the game against South Carolina in the Gator Bowl comes to mind, and then another against North Carolina on the road when the Fighting Irish were really reeling at that time. I mean, everyone knows the 0-2 start, lost to Marshall at home, then you got to go on the road to North Carolina, a team that started 3-0 at that point, was looking really good with Drake May at quarterback. And Logan Diggs kind of had the long touchdown catch. I want to say it went for 60 or 70 yards. That kind of set the tone in that game and got Notre Dame off on the right foot. And the Fighting Irish ended up winning on the road against all odds, really, at that time. So a guy that makes plays at the right moments, and then just somebody who is counted upon as being, like last year with Audric Estime, he was really a 1A or a 1B. I mean, Estime would start some games, Diggs would start some games. So, yeah, you look at the numbers, 217 carries, 1,052 yards, 7 touchdowns. The passing statistics or the receiving statistics are really good, 16 catches, 267 yards, 3 more touchdowns. So he just brings a little bit of everything, and he's always been a guy that if you stay healthy, then he can contribute. But that health piece has been pretty big for him. He was banged up this spring, didn't play in the spring game for Notre Dame, and then just a few days later he enters the transfer portal. So if he stays healthy, he's going to be a really good one in Baton Rouge.
Did it surprise you to see him enter the portal?
A little bit, and then not as much, because if you figure this, he was actually the recruit that was rated more, a little higher than Estime coming in the class of 2021. So he was supposed to be that guy. And then freshman season, it goes that way. Obviously, they're both freshmen in 2021, and Diggs ends up getting 52 carries that year behind Kyron Williams, who's now in the league with the Los Angeles Rams. And Estime only gets 7 carries that year. So I think at that point, you're thinking the trend's going to continue and Diggs is going to be the guy, and then Estime kind of spells him. But really last year, the first year without Williams, it went to 1A, 1B, like I was saying. I mean, they shared the backfield. I think Diggs led the team with 165 carries, but Estime had 156, and nobody really saw that coming at the very beginning of the year. So yeah, I mean, when you factor in those things, and then missing the spring this year really hurt him, because yeah, I think it was going to be a split backfield type of thing again this season, and maybe Diggs just wanted no part of that. But I mean, Estime really kind of took the reins and rolled with them in the spring because Diggs was sitting out. So it's not completely surprising. This isn't a portal situation where the guy's leaving because he wasn't going to play. I think it's a portal situation where the guy's leaving because he wants to play more. And obviously he went back home and is probably going to do that at LSU.
Let's talk about the buzz around Sam Hartman going up to South Bend to take the reins of Marcus Freeman's program. What's the feeling about the new signal caller for the Irish?
Yeah, he had some growing pains or acclimation pains, whatever you want to call them, in the spring. I mean, there was a couple practices that they let us watch where he just flat out didn't look very good. And I mean, it's one thing to panic in March. It's another thing if he goes out there and looks like that in August when they play Navy, and then obviously September, October, all the way through the fall. But I think what he did in the spring game kind of made people feel a little bit better about the situation. I mean, he went out there and balled out. A spring game is a spring game, especially at the quarterback position. You're not hitting that guy, whatever, but you still got to drop back, make the throws. That's exactly what he did. 13 to 16, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. His day was done before halftime, and not in a bad way. It was like, okay, we've seen enough from you. Let's put you on the bench. He looked really good in that, and I mean, that's kind of what he's done his whole career, right? At Wake Forest, 110 touchdown passes, more than any ACC quarterback in the history of that conference. So there's been some pretty good ones to roll through there, especially of late. That's a number that I think is going to stand up for a while, and I think it's something that Notre Dame has needed. And obviously, they only get him for 1 year, but it's a situation where if Sam Hartman goes out there and flirts with 40 touchdown passes and Notre Dame is in the college football playoff conversation and all of those things, I think you might see Notre Dame's recruiting of quarterbacks kick up a notch, because they're recruiting every position really well right now with Marcus Freeman. It's just the quarterback situation has always been a little bit of a question mark for this program, but all you need is that 1 year, that one guy to show you, hey, you can do it here, and I think it might take off.
That leads exactly where I wanted to go here, because obviously we've got a Southeastern Conference listenership here, and one that doesn't think too fondly about what goes on in Tuscaloosa. That spring game you're talking about was the precursor to Tyler Buckner heading to Alabama to become probably their starting quarterback. When I say Tyler Buckner, Alabama starting quarterback, what do you think?
Oh, just right there, I kind of chuckle a little bit. This is coming from a guy who has kind of put some of my eggs in the Tyler Buckner basket last off season and saying, I think he can be really good. But every time he goes out there, you're kind of reminded of why maybe he's not going to be really good. I mean, it's the interceptions. A pick six against Marshall seals that game in the fourth quarter. You can't do that if you're the Notre Dame quarterback. The Gator Bowl, I know he was the MVP. He accounted for 5 total touchdowns. That was the upside. But he also threw 3 interceptions. I think 2 of those were returned for a touchdown. And if it wasn't for South Carolina basically missing its entire starting defensive core, I mean, there were so many guys that sat out that game. Notre Dame doesn't win that game, and that's because of the way Buckner kind of turned the ball over. So this is a guy who did a whole lot in high school, but this isn't high school anymore, and he really only started 1 season in high school. His junior year, he went off. I think it was like 6,000 yards, close to 60 touchdowns. But he was playing lesser competition. It hasn't translated to the college game so far. I talked about Diggs being injury prone. I mean, Tyler Buckner is that on steroids almost. I mentioned missing his entire, I think it was his sophomore year with an ACL injury in high school. This season, everyone knows that he injured his shoulder in that Marshall game and then missed 10 games. We don't see him again until the bowl game. So what Alabama has right now, if Tyler Buckner is their best option to start at quarterback, it's not a very good situation for the Crimson Tide, just because this is a guy that has not proven it at this level yet. And if he's already better than the two guys that they already had there, then it's kind of a yikes situation for Nick Saban as he gets close to the end of his career here.
So what you're telling me is Hurts to Tagovailoa to Jones to the Heisman winner. It doesn't exactly, and Bryce Young. It doesn't exactly.
No.
Tyler Horka doesn't. Tyler Buckner doesn't roll off the tongue in the next spot there. I that's what I sense.
Yeah, I think I was on with Paul Feinbaum a couple weeks ago, actually, right when the Tyler Buckner thing unfolded. And I'll just say this really quickly: Tyler Buckner is more Blake Sims, and was it Josh Coker?
Jake Coker.
Jake Coker. He's more Jake Coker, Blake Sims than he is Tua Tagovailoa or Bryce Young or even Jalen Hurts. So I think LSU fans are pretty happy to hear that.
We know that Brian Kelly made a run at Tommy Rees, and Tommy Rees decided to stay at his alma mater. Now he's headed to Tuscaloosa. How do you think that's going to go?
Repeat that again. You cut out a little bit.
Yeah,
there.
Tommy Rees heading to Tuscaloosa to be the offensive coordinator there. How do you think that'll go?
That was interesting. I mean, I can't believe that we're living in a world where Alabama felt the need to take both the offensive coordinator and the quarterback from Notre Dame, a program that has been good the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, they were a little bit down last year, but I mean, this is a program that every time they get to the college football playoff, they just get skunked by teams like Alabama. And now Alabama is in a situation where it's poaching, two of the top guys from that program. It's weird. I think it can work, though, and I've written this at blueandgold.com. If there's anywhere where a guy like Tommy Rees, an offensive coordinator, and a quarterback like Tyler Buckner can just kind of resurrect their respective careers, it would be there. It seems like guys just go there and make it work. I mean, Lane Kiffin comes to mind, Steve Sarkisian. Those guys fell upward because they went to Alabama. I know Bill O'Brien isn't in the best of graces with Alabama fans right now, but even that kind of worked to a degree. I mean, I think Alabama had the number 11 offense in the country last year, and everybody wants Bill O'Brien's head on a steak, on a platter right now, just because it didn't work out in their eyes. So I think it'll work, but I think it'll also come with those moments where, maybe it's against LSU or another big name SEC school where the Alabama offense just isn't clicking at a level that it did when Tua was there, or Jalen, and then when they were winning national championships, Mac Jones, obviously, Devonta Smith, those guys. I think they're going to have moments where it doesn't look enough like that, and Alabama loses a game, and all the attention is going to go to Tommy Rees, and people are going to be saying, what the heck were we doing stealing an offensive coordinator from a program that hasn't won a national title since 1988?
It'll be interesting to see for sure. I'm curious how it all works out. Last thing here, Tyler, we appreciate your time. The Saints took Isaiah Foskey, pass rusher from Notre Dame, in the second round. Tell the folks in South Louisiana here what kind of player they're getting there.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll just say he's an incredible dude. I mean, you get a lot of those from Notre Dame, just the high character guys, and he's one of those. And then we talk about Notre Dame. I mean, they've put some really good defensive linemen in the league. Stephon Tuitt comes to mind, and guys like that. And this is a guy who has the most sacks in Notre Dame program history. And I know sacks is a stat that's only come up in the last few decades, but you think of all the names that Notre Dame has put in the league at the defensive line position, and for Isaiah Foskey to have more sacks than any of them since the stats started being recorded is pretty good. And, I mean, I've watched this guy block 3 punts. I don't care who you're playing. This was against UNLV, but to line up and just go attack the punter and block 3 kicks in one game, I mean, that's the type of tenacity that the Saints are getting in Isaiah Foskey. Just a relentless pass rusher. Just, everything that he does, he gears his game toward getting around offensive linemen, getting the quarterback, getting to the punter even. So it's a guy who, tireless worker, guy who works really hard in the weight room, obviously, His physical attributes kind of jump off the page and show you that. And a guy that for 4 years in South Bend was looked at in a very positive light, team captain type of guy. And the Saints taking him at number 40, I think that was a really good pick.
Allied, last one here. I know you've been South Bend a couple of years, but you were in Starkville for a bit. Can you believe the state of Mississippi State's baseball program as it stands today, 2 years from walking off the field in Omaha?
No, that was the last year that I covered them with that national championship team, and it's just, you know as well as anybody, it's just, when you're kind of around a team or a sport, it doesn't matter where you go next. You're always looking at what that past stop is up to, and just to see week in, week out what's happened. And I don't know how the heck they won that series against LSU. I see how good LSU is, but yeah, they're in the dumps right now.
It's amazing to see. Tyler, thanks so much for your time. We'll catch up this summer, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Hunt. See you, man.
He is Tyler Horka up there covering Notre Dame, part of the On3 network, writes for Blue and Gold. It's just weird how all those roads intersected where LSU's got a running back coming from Notre Dame. Alabama's quarterback he covered at Notre Dame, as well as their offensive coordinator from the Saints drafted Notre Dame guy. So I just thought Tyler would be a good guy to come on and just hit a number of topics. And as always, he did a great job with us there. So appreciate Tyler for jumping aboard. Let's take a time out. Come back with What If Wednesday next.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team have been in the business for 30 years. Just give them a try. I know it's not a great time to move for a lot of people right now. That doesn't mean you can't improve your living situation. What would the bathroom of your dreams do for your living situation? It can be a full-scale renovation. It can just be a tub-to-shower conversion. They can do it for you at One Bath and Closets. And on the closet side, customized closet can be just what you need. Just separate all the clutter. Just make things a little easier on you with a brand new customized closet for you and your spouse. David Duvall and his team will do it for you. And if you tell them you're a listener to the Hunt Palmer Show, they're not going to charge you to rip the current closet out. They're not going to charge you for the install of the new one. They're just going to charge you for the cost of the closet unit. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Visit the website, OneBathAndClosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. We'll recap LSU McNeese from the box, start taking a look at the Georgia Bulldogs. It's a Whiskey Wednesday, Pluckers trivia, lots of good stuff. Wednesday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Apparently, ACC athletic directors were screaming at each other in a hotel bar yesterday. I'll get into a little bit of that story at the top of hour number 2. Chris Demui with us at the bottom of hour number 2. But it's 1:30 on a Wednesday. That means it's time for What If Wednesday.
Time. Space. Reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
What if LSU could have one injured player back for this baseball team?
Well, they got a lot. As much as I'd like to have Brady Neal back, the offense has been very good at catcher, and they've played pretty well there. So it's obviously going to have to come from the pitching staff that struggled so much. And I have trouble going away from Grant Taylor here. Shores was off to a really good start as a freshman. Edwards was the best bullpen pitcher they had at that point. And those guys are probably more sure things, because Grant Taylor's numbers were not awesome last year as a freshman. They were good, and he was a key piece to the bullpen, but it wasn't like he was just some shutdown. But the summer and certainly the fall that he had, the velocity that he has, the bats he was missing, I think he would have been the guy out of the bullpen. Where, I mean, how different does this look if you can have Skeens go in game 1, and then you can get Floyd to give you, 6 in game 2, and then Taylor can come in and just drop the hammer on the second game of the series. That's what they need. I would love to have Chase Shores back. I would love to have Garrett Edwards back. I would love to see what Jaden Newt could do. I would love to have Brady Neal back as well. Paxton Kling missed time, and it kind of interrupted his season. But the answer to me is Grant Taylor.
What if you could add something to the box?
I think we've gotten this one a few times. You gotta be realistic about what you could do. I mean, the crew that just say, "Well, build a berm," like you could theoretically, and that it would just be a weird construction product to make that happen, because you have to build it off a flat top. I look at Tennessee's party decks out in left field. They've built 3 of them. They started with 1, and they were so popular, now they've added 2 more. And that's doable. It's just a construction deal. It doesn't create those kind of uncomfortable, hot regional time and freezing cold in February bleachers that are out in right and left field. Maybe in right field, you just build a, from the foul pole to the power alley, you build a, 90-foot party deck with some umbrellas and stuff, and maybe you've got waiters and waitresses that go, and you just kind of create a little bit more of a college-like environment. I am higher on the box than most. I think it still gives LSU a great home field advantage. I know that the amenities for the players are very good. Is it 14 years old and a little bit behind a couple of the stadiums in the SEC? Sure. But if you gave me carte blanche and I'd have to pay for it, I would probably build some kind of party deck in the outfield instead of the metal bleachers that are just not comfortable outside of like April.
What if Myers Palmer grows up liking and or attending a certain SEC university in Tuscaloosa that wears crimson?
Oh gosh, that would break my heart. I think now most people that listen to this channel bleed purple and gold and would align with me, but I think a lot of people just in general would think that was so stupid and so silly that you would care what team your son pulled for. But that would break my heart if he went to Alabama and became a big-time Alabama fan, because like so many great memories I have with my dad, and continuing a big piece of our relationship is talking about LSU sports. And if my kid's just a big Alabama fan, like I don't talk about Alabama's backup quarterback. I don't ever want to talk about that. I can't imagine going to Tuscaloosa or going to Tiger Stadium and having my kid in a crimson shirt pulling against LSU. Like, that would break my heart if that happened. Now, you know, he's got my genes and his mom's genes, so he's probably not going to be getting any Division I scholarships, would be the guess I have. But you know, if he went and played there, that'd be a crazy thing too. Not something I have to worry about right this second. And quite frankly, the odds of him not loving LSU are pretty slim. Dad works at LSU at the moment. He talks about LSU all the time. He spends all his free time. He's going to grow up, go into Tiger Stadium, go into the box, go into the PMAC. The odds of him breaking off are not great. One of the guys that I really enjoy listening to, Mark Silverman on ESPN Chicago, he's got two young boys. He's a diehard Cubs fan, works for ESPN 1000, and his oldest son, who's probably like 6 or 7 now, has adopted the White Sox, which in that town is a big deal. You kind of pick your sides, and that's where your allegiance lays. And more often than not, you hate the other one. And that would be tough to swallow, especially if I wanted to go to Wrigley to watch the Cubs and my kid wanted to go to that dump on the south side and watch the White Sox. That would make me very sad. But I don't have to deal with any of that. But yeah, if the Myers man wants to pull for Alabama, that will break my spirit in a big way.
Our last one here. What if Elaine from Seinfeld had married Putty?
I think so. I would be in for that, not because I have any interest in the outcome of their marriage or whether or not they're compatible, but because Putty content is some of the best on that show. He is one of the top 3 characters on that show. For me, it's probably George 1, Kramer 2, Putty 3, maybe Peterman 4. I think to have more Putty involved in the show would absolutely work for me. And there's no question that relationship would be a disaster, because it was every time they got together. So Putty, A+ character, fantastic work, and I would love to see more Putty. So that would be good for me. Let's see if there's any what ifs in the Bayou Ford chat. I haven't looked, so I'll take a quick scan. Looking like no what ifs there. We had a lot of input on Twitter today, so I appreciate y'all for jumping in on a What If Wednesday. I was looking for a place to squeeze this in on the show today, so I think I found it here. Baseball America has put together their projections for today. And less than tell you who they've got projected in LSU's regional, I want to tell you where the top 16 hosts lay resume-wise compared to LSU. We'll do that to close out hour number 1 next.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana, and we're thrilled to tell you all about Acadian Companies. Grounded in its people and the culture of South Louisiana, it was founded in 1971 by a duo who recognized the need for local emergency medical support, and Acadian quickly established themselves as an early industry leader and trailblazer. Acadian's founders center their success in the loyalty and culture of Louisianians who are always willing to lend a hand. One of Acadian Company's initiatives is Hometown Heroes, that partners with local high schools to train and prepare students for a career as a licensed EMT, providing a career path for young people to make a difference in young people's lives. That's what makes Acadian a champion of Louisiana. If you want to know more about Acadian Companies, go to lwcc.com/champions. You can read about them and the other champions that we highlight each and every day on this show. Acadian Companies is a champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Game Time. We're live at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City. It's Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So, when things went awry on Sunday and LSU lost that series to Mississippi State, I think there were probably a segment of fans that looked at it and said, well, they're not even going to host. And I get the frustration, and I laid out the resume yesterday, and you can go back and watch that on demand if you want to. I did it at the top of the show. But I want to lay this out for you with a little bit of context about where LSU currently sits in the NCAA pecking order. Baseball America put their projections out today, and incidentally, they had LSU as the number 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, which is fine. I want to tell you what LSU's resume looks like compared to the teams that Baseball America has on the hosting bubble. They have Dallas Baptist as the 15th regional host. Dallas Baptist RPI is 14. That's 10 spots worse than LSU, who's at 4. Their record against Quadrant 1, Dallas Baptist, is 2-7. LSU's is 15-10. Do you see how far apart LSU is from the projected 15th regional host via Baseball America? I'm not just going to give you one example. Indiana State is a host for Baseball America. Their RPI is 12. That's 8 spots worse than LSU. They're 2-9 against the top 50. Let's go to 2 seeds that are theoretically, because of where Baseball America has them slotted, among the top 2 seeds. UConn's RPI is 24. That is 20 spots worse than LSU, and they're projected as a high-end 2 seed, which is what you would be if you missed the hosting situation. They're 6-3 against Q1. LSU has 9 more wins than UConn against Quad 1. Texas is a high-end 2 seed. Their RPI is 30. That's 26 spots higher than LSU's. They're 10-12 against quad one. LSU's got 5 more wins and obviously a much better winning percentage. So if you catch the drift, like LSU is going to be a regional host. I know that the last 72 hours have not been a lot of fun. But you avoided kind of an RPI potential pitfall last night where you could have theoretically backed up 3 or 4 spots. South Carolina lost last night to Charlotte, who's a good team. Charlotte's RPI is actually pretty high, I think. Let me look at Charlotte. Charlotte's RPI is... I thought it was in the top 50, and it may be. I just may have scrolled right past it. But anyway, doesn't matter. Point of the discussion is that South Carolina lost to Charlotte. They backed up a spot in the RPI, and LSU took it. So LSU went from 5-4 overnight with their win over Nice. Now you're playing 3 games against Georgia. You get swept in this series, your RPI is going to be like 8. And you've got significant issues in terms of being a top 8 national seed. But we went through that yesterday. But even if you go to Hoover and don't play great, you're just not going to back up far enough to come off the hosting site. It would be a catastrophic end of the season. If you lost a series to Auburn, lost a series to Mississippi State, got swept against Georgia and went to Hoover and laid down, you would feel awful. I would feel awful. We'd be talking terrible things leading up to Memorial Day. But it still doesn't erase the fact that right now you're 40-12 with a top 4 RPI, a strength of schedule in the top 15, and a very much a winning Quadrant 1 record at 15-10, which we need Kansas State to get a couple of games this weekend against TCU to jump back in the top 50 just for another Quad 1 win. You would have still won 7 of 10 SEC series, and you'd still be a regional host. But just to kind of put you at ease, and we'll continue to do this moving forward, you're looking at Baseball America calling DBU and Indiana State host sites. They got RPIs that are way behind LSU, and their Quadrant 1 records are terrible. 2-7 and 2-9. LSU, despite the last 2 weeks, has put together a damn strong resume. And all the 56 games is to put on your resume and then go play. Because sometimes great teams play poorly, and sometimes poor teams play great. We know the great teams playing poorly, like Tennessee and Arkansas the last couple of years. We know the poor teams playing great. Stony Brook, Coastal, Fresno State. Those teams didn't light it up in April, but their resume was what it was, and then they played great. I wish LSU was pitching the ball better. I wish they were fielding it better. I wish they were healthier. We'll see how they play, but in terms of setting yourself up, LSU at this point is in a really, really good spot. Just wanted to bring a little bit of positive energy, positive vibes here as we look at Baseball America. D1s will come out later today. If they come out during the show, I'll kind of hit on those briefly. We'll talk to Joe Healy tomorrow about what he thinks about LSU's prospects and about how he thinks about how they're playing. Excited to get Joe on and kick that around a little bit. So we still got a lot to get to, and LSU can put all this to bed in Athens, and we know that. And they could have put it to bed against Mississippi State over the weekend. They could have swept that series and put themselves in a perfect position, but they weren't able to do it. So it is what it is. That'll do it for the first hour of our show today. I opened things up talking about LSU and McNeese from last night. I actually didn't think it was a worthless game. I thought that it kind of showed a little bit of a roadmap to what a Friday of a regional might look like and what Saturday would be in position for if it unfolded like that. So if you want to hear some of that, you can go back and catch that. Tyler Horka, I thought was great. Part of the On3 network, covers Notre Dame, but we talked Logan Diggs coming to Baton Rouge. We talked Isaiah Foskey going to the Saints. We talked about Tyler Buckner at Alabama. We talked about Tommy Reese at Alabama. A lot with Tyler Horka there at 1:15. It was a What If Wednesday. A little Seinfeld got sprinkled in there, which we don't complain about, and some baseball as well. So if you missed it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, anywhere you find your audio, you can find that. None of that content would have fit into our 2 YouTube channels, but I want to tell you about them and continue to tell you about those. You go to YouTube, you search Hunt on LSU or Hunt on Saints. Subscribe to those 2 channels, and our football content will come right to there. Those 2 channels are nothing but football. No baseball, no basketball. It's football, football, football. So if you want football, go to Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints, subscribe. You can catch that content as we crank it out. A lot to get to in hour 2. Chris Demui always at the bottom of hour number 2 at 2:30. We'll talk some baseball with Demui. Looking forward to that. I want to get you paid this PGA Championship that's coming up. And we'll open up hour number 2 with ACC ADs getting in fights, apparently screaming at each other in hotel bars. That's newsworthy. And why are they doing it? We'll talk about that coming up after SportsCenter right here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets with a hood to swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this wall.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One day after firing Coach Doc Rivers, 76ers GM Daryl Morey told reporters star Joel Embiid was shocked by the move. Morey said it's up to him to convince Embiid. He'll have a close relationship with a new coach as well. Morey also said they are interested in bringing back James Harden. The Heat-Celtics threequel begins tonight with Game 1 of the NBA's East Finals. It's the third time the last 4 years the teams are facing off in the conference finals. Boston's a heavy favorite to win the series, but don't count Miami out in part because of Coach Eric Spoelstra, believes ESPN's J.J. Redick.
What he does in the playoffs is game to game, he figures out a way, whether it's going zone, changing a matchup, changing a rotation, whatever it may be. Game to game, he figures out a way to keep his team in the basketball game. And then you've got Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter controlling the offense. They always have a chance with those two guys.
Game 1, 8 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Las Vegas Aces coach Becky Hammon denying bullying a former player over her pregnancy and said she did nothing to warrant a 2-game suspension from the WNBA.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 on this Wednesday Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Half the work week in the rear view mirror. We are now working towards the weekend. Again, glad you're with us here. The realignment stuff just never stops, does it? And there's just so much money at stake that the conversation never really stops. And if you've been paying attention, you understand that the ACC athletic directors have been meeting this week, and it has not gone super awesome. Let's just start there. It has not gone well. And I'm torn on the entire thing. Because to me, as I evaluate the situation in college football, I know that there are haves and have-nots. How many times have you heard me have that conversation with you on these airs? There are haves, there are have-nots. There's always been haves and have-nots. But the gap is growing. And to me, as I pivot the conversation and look over at college baseball, I don't like it. Last year, when you get to Omaha, and there are essentially 6 SEC teams there. Texas and Oklahoma were there. They're coming to the league. You had Ole Miss. You had Arkansas. You had Auburn. You had Texas A&M. It was Stanford, Notre Dame in the SEC. That, to me, is not good. I want Fullerton there. I want Irvine there. I want Arizona there. I want a little more variety. I want Miami there. Where's Georgia Tech? Virginia? Like, it just feels like the entire world revolving around the little old SEC isn't good. That, to me, doesn't feel good. And it feels like we're heading there in college football. You're going to have Ohio State, Michigan, USC, and the SEC. Because that's where all the money is. And that's why the ACC is throwing temper tantrums right now between athletic directors. The schools with elite athletic expectations are looking at this and going, we'll never make it in this league. This league is toast. We have to get out of our grant of rights agreement. Okay, well, when does that expire? 2036. Well, how much does it cost to get out of it? $150 million. That's a problem. So 7 schools in the ACC who have dubbed themselves the Magnificent Seven, whatever the heck that is. I don't know how magnificent some of these schools are, but you do you. They're lawyering up, and they're going through this grant of rights agreement going, we have to get out now. It's Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, which makes sense, NC State, not sure how they got in there, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. Sorry, Wake. Sorry, Duke. Sorry, BC. Georgia Tech. Sorry, Louisville. Those are the Magnificent Seven. And what they're trying to do is get out. They're trying to get out, get in the SEC, get in the Big Ten, get a piece of the pie, and compete with the monsters that have become the SEC and the Big Ten. That's what they're trying to do. They're having trouble. And so if they can't get that figured out where they can just get the hell out of there, they now have to figure out how to keep up with the big boys monetarily while strapped into this bad conference. And their answer is, we're just going to keep more of the money. We're the ones who might make the college football playoff. We're the ones who are going to take more of the money off the top. Georgia Tech, what have you done? You're not getting money. And what have we learned about conferences who don't get along? They break up. The Big 12, well, Texas got its own network deal, so they're going to keep more of the money. Well, Nebraska said, see ya. Colorado, bye. Missouri, I'm out. A&M, gone. And the Big 12 died. Texas had to jump ship. It died. Pac-12, not spending the money, the poor leadership, bad television contract. The two schools that matter in that league, in the one media market that matters in that league, said, see ya. The SEC, despite its bickering about scheduling and no, Vanderbilt doesn't pull its weight in football, the SEC, due to strong leadership, gets it done. There isn't as much money in the Southeast as there is out west or in those Big Ten markets. But they make it work, and they've created a monster. And to go back to the beginning of this discussion where I told you that I hated the fact that Omaha boiled down to the Southeastern Conference and that I'd like a little variety, the way the NCAA basketball tournament has that, and there's teams from all over the country in different conferences, and basketball's a different sport. There's less money involved, less players. I get the whole thing. But I don't want college football to become just LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, A&M, and Texas. And that's where I landed this morning when I was reading through all of this. And then I kind of snapped out of it and shook the cobwebs and went, wait a second. That's what it's always been. Not those exact schools. But there's always been an elite class in college football. It's not the NFL, where everybody theoretically has a chance. Yes, the Lions do have a chance. They just don't capitalize on it. But there's always been some schools that can win it and some that can't. Mississippi State's going to go to camp this year. They can't win a national championship. Neither can Texas Tech or Boston College or Michigan State. So if we leave them in the dust and we just shrink this thing down to what it looks like, and we take the 7 teams in the SEC that matter, we take the 3 teams in the ACC that matter, and we take the 4 teams in the Big Ten that matter, and we, however that works out, but you end up with those 20 schools, and they keep all the money, and everybody kind of goes their separate ways. Like, I may not love it from a nostalgia perspective and what college football was 30 years ago, but it's coming, man. It's coming. Because as they're talking about right now, Clemson and Florida State and Miami are just not willing to watch LSU and Georgia and Ohio State and Michigan and Florida and Alabama and Texas A&M fly by them to the tune of $30 million a year in revenue they're leaving on the table because they're hamstrung to Wake Forest and Georgia Tech. They're going to figure out a way to get out of this. whether it's paying the $150 million and eating it and realizing that that's going to be a big deal, whether it's an attorney finding a loophole in these contracts and getting out for far less, or whether it's coming up with a proposal on some end, and this is way out of my league, but that brings everyone together, that increases the revenue, because the law always stands, unless it's COVID, follow the money. If you create more money for the Big Ten or the SEC and the schools in it with something new, they'll listen. Money always listens. It gets people to listen. I don't want the entire ACC to die. I don't need the whole Pac-12 to die. But they're dying. Because you can't keep up in this age of facility races and NIL, where the only thing that matters is money, if you are losing by $30 million a year. Over 4 years, you lose by $120 million. That's not hard to figure out that you can't compete. It's interesting. It's fascinating. From a nostalgia perspective, it's a little bit depressing, but it's realistic. This is coming. We already blew up 2 leagues. The Big 12 and Pac-12 are toast. The ACC is next. It's just a matter of how quickly they can get to it. And we'll get to that league, that conference, where your champion is coming from a 20-team pool. It was already coming from that 20-team pool. They're just all going to be intertwined at this point. It's a matter of when it happens. The ACC, a lot of yelling going on at their meetings. Again, there was a tweet. I couldn't find it. Saw it this morning. 2 ADs were yelling at each other in a hotel bar. Had to be separated. That's how things are going in the ACC. It's not going to last long. All right, we got Chris Demui coming up here in 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, I got a couple things I want to get to. Texas Tech is unleashing an NIL cause for baseball that I found fascinating, and think that the transfer portal may be changing a little bit. And then I'm going to try to get you some money for the PGA Championship. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is on Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold.
Join us for Thursdays Off the Bench as LSU baseball coach Jay Johnson and LSU softball coach Bet Tarina both join the show, and we start looking ahead to the weekend in sports. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Saw this news story come across today, about 9:30 this morning, that the Matador Club, which is an NIL collective that is comprised of Texas Tech alums, has come together, and they're going to sign the entire Texas Tech football, softball, and baseball teams to NIL deals that are larger than 4 figures. So 5-figure plus deals. That's not really news. That's a common thing in sports now. And quite frankly, Texas Tech's probably a little late to that game. But it did show up today, and it didn't get me thinking necessarily about how much money Texas Tech shortstop's going to make this year. I don't really care about that. Good for him. Or who's going to pay for that? That's just Lubbock-based businesses and Tech alumni, and that's all well and good. I am interested because I do listen to a lot of podcasts throughout the week, snippets of them from different programs, different beats, as you will, different schools. And there's been some talk on some of the podcasts I listen to about the allocation of NIL funds to players based on sport. And I know this is the side of things that a lot of college sports fans don't like to think about or hear about or realize is happening. But in the era of the transfer portal and NIL, guys are just simply going to go where there's money a lot of the time. Not all the time. A lot of the time. We just saw Hunter Dickinson leave Michigan, where he's had an excellent career, and he just carved LSU up in the tournament a couple of years ago for Kansas. And he literally said in an interview, when he decided to go to Kansas, if you got a $10,000 raise, wouldn't you move jobs too? I'm guessing you get more than $10,000 more, but the point remains. Big man, great player, literally said, went because the money was better. And some schools can afford to pay a lot more than other schools. So they can spread the cash out all over the place. some schools don't have as deep of pockets. So are they going to have to decide, hey, do I want a left tackle, an inside linebacker, and a backup running back? Or do I want a 5-star point guard? Because there's only so much money to give. We could chop it up 3 ways for the football team, or we could go get a stud basketball player. And then does that create friction inside the athletic department between coaches? I know. You're not allowed to use NIL as a recruiting inducement. Newsflash. Hunter Dickinson just told us not exactly the case. You can, and they will. And I'm just curious if this becomes free agency and some teams are the Yankees and some teams are the Rays. And that's not in terms of division by division. It's in terms of inside the school's NIL department. I'll give you an example. Ole Miss. They got some money. They don't have as much money as Texas. They don't have as much money as Alabama. They don't have as much money as Georgia. They got some money. But do you think that Chris Beard is going to play second fiddle to football? That's not his world. He's basketball guy. Hey, I made it to the national final. When was the last time that football team did anything of note? I need these players. Who do I need to talk to here to make sure they're taken care of with their NIL stuff? You see what I'm saying? There's not endless amounts of money in Oxford. It's just something that I have not considered that I think is interesting. I don't know how it pertains to LSU. Because you've got 3 programs that have proven they can win on the men's side, 2 of which have won national championships fairly recently. LSU's last baseball was in 2009, but you get the picture. Played for one pretty recently in 17. In football, just won one in 19. Basketball, you got to go back a little ways. But you've also got a women's basketball program that's top of the country. And they're literally getting players to come here because of the massive social media following that follows you to LSU. Livy Dunn, Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith. Get it? So this point that I'm making is not necessarily a specific one. Like, this situation is arising. It's a big picture one, like, if this is what it's going to take, or you're going to have to pick and choose what sports matter unless you've got an endless amount of money. And I guess in some respects, the boosters decide that. It's not exactly the way this thing was intended, I know. But let's not put our head in the sand here. Let's just realize this is the situation. There's enough money for Texas Tech to play every athlete $10,000. There is a lot of places. But when you start having to get the stars, what is it going to cost, and does that compromise what you can do elsewhere? Look, LSU's always going to be a big, big swinger in the baseball transfer portal because of what the exposure level is here, because of what the history is here, because of what the passion in this fan base is, and because there's a great coach at the top who understands talent acquisition. But I think LSU was quicker to the transfer portal than some of these programs have been. I mean, look at a different sport. Dabo still doesn't want to go to the transfer portal. Well, you better hurry, because that's where people are living. We talked about McMahon 2 weeks ago. He said, yeah, I just want to be old. I want old players. Transfer portal's got old players. High school doesn't. Just the whole thing's different than it was 5 or 8 years ago. All right, we'll get to Demui here in a couple of minutes. I do want to win you some cash here. So let's throw some bets out for the PGA Championship. We will go ahead and archive these. I'm not actually going to place the bets, but I like them for this weekend. They're playing at Oak Hill in the PGA. Jason Duffner won there the last time. Lee Trevino has won there. It is typically a precision player's golf course. Now, linked always helps, especially when they grow the rough up like this, and they've linked in this course and done some renovations to it, and they've taken some trees out. So it's not exactly the course Jason Duffner won, but precision has been key at Oak Hill in the past. So I've kept that in mind with some of these bets. I'm going to bet $100 as I do on every major, and we'll see what the return is next week. I got a couple of long shots and a couple of shorter odds deals. My first long shot is Jon Rahm to be the first-round leader. All he has to do is tie for it. He's the best player in the world. He just won the Masters. He's plenty long. He's got every bit of precision you need. He's the best player going. So I'm going to take him plus 1,800 to be the first-round leader at $35 to win $630. That will be my first play here in the PGA Championship. My second longer odds play is a winner. It's Sungjae Im. He is a brilliant ball striker. He drives it. He irons it. His putting's good. I watched him play 4 holes at Zurich. He made birdie on all 4. So that doesn't exactly translate to Oak Hill, but he's an excellent player. He hasn't won. The odds are really long on him, relatively speaking, to your Schefflers and Rahms and McIlroys and whatnot. So I've got Sungjae Im to win at plus 3,400. That is a $20 bet to win $680. A couple of shorter plays. Adam Scott to top 20. I think that is a really safe play. He's played really well the last couple times out. He's top 10 his last 2 events. He's a really precision player. The putter can be hot and cold, but he's usually going to drive it straight and hit good iron shots. I'll take Adam Scott, who's playing well over the last couple of weeks, at plus 300 to top 20. That is $20 to win 60. And then I've got a FanDuel play here that's a combination play. Patrick Cantlay and Brooks Koepka to both finish in the top 20. That is plus 290. I threw $25 down there to win $72.50. That is Cantlay and Brooks to both finish in the top 20. Those two guys are great iron players. Brooks played great in the Masters until the last 15 holes or so. And Cantlay's just a solid player. I don't think he's going to win because he never wins. But I do think he's got a chance to go in the top 20. So I've got Rahm to finish the first round up top. Sungjae Im to win. Those are my long shot plays. Adam Scott, top 20. Shorter play. Cantlay and Brooks combo to top 20. That's plus 290 there as well. So we'll check on those when we come back on Monday and see how things unfolded from up there at Oak Hill. 30 minutes to go here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll take a timeout. Come back with Chris Demui next.
This is on Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
Angrove, join us for the Wednesday edition of Handy Time. Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated about the SEC meetings and more conference realignment. Scott Rabelais from The Advocate and First Class, Second Class, No Class. Handy Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Chris Demui, host of the 60 Feet 6 Inch LSU Baseball Podcast, former Tiger left-hander, joins us every Wednesday at this. Wait, is that right? Yeah, 2:30. What? Oh, Joe Healy's at 2:15. I just had a brain warp on what time it was and what day it was. Demui, I apologize. Sometimes it happens on Lad Radio.
You're good, man. I even heard you announcing on the way in before as I was driving into town. So
I did, and then I looked up at the clock and I was like, wait, that's not the right time. It rarely happens, but it happens some. All right, what's wrong with the baseball team?
They're having a tough time putting 3 games together. This weekend it was the bullpen, and last weekend, I guess in Auburn you could say the hitters, but this weekend it was the pen. You blow a 4-2 lead with 6 outs to get. You have the debacle. You're up 13-4 in the 6th, I believe, and you just can't get it done. So it's they got to figure out a way to right the ship here. And people still say they have time, and while they do have time, eventually you're going to run out, right? You got one SEC series left, you got the SEC tournament, and then it's you lose 2 games and your season's done. So at some point, somebody has got to figure it out.
It's interesting. I know that there are skip stories from decades, and then you kind of see how Jay Johnson and Wes Johnson are handling things. Does the staff need tough love? Do they need a kick in the seat, or they need some confidence building and reassurance?
I don't know. I don't know those kids. I don't know how they handle things behind closed doors. I'm sure some guys that pitch in the 90s would be more than happy to talk to them behind closed doors. I don't know their personality. They show emotion, they show fight, but then the next inning they go out and they just kind of wilt under the pressure. As we've talked before, they're still trying to learn how to win at this level, right? They're still trying to get through a super regional and get to Omaha. And when you have young guys or guys that haven't been in that spotlight before, it's tough. It's tough. And every time you get out, you build confidence, but then you take 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So I'm sure they've tried the tough love. I'm sure they've tried the players-only meetings, I would assume by now. But at some point, I said on the review pod, it's up to each person in that room to look in the mirror and say, what do I need to do to get better? And how can I help this team? And really just block out everything else and just try to do a job.
I don't know what happens behind closed doors or in meetings or any of that kind of stuff. I do know what happens in mound visits, and I know what happens post-game because LSU puts it on Instagram. I mean, last night, Jay gave every pitcher that pitched magic moment, which is he just trying to build these guys up. I mean, it wasn't like they slammed the door on McNeese. They were fine. But he gave everybody magic moment who was a pitcher. So it looks to me like they're just trying to infuse some confidence in these guys any way they can do it.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that. And just as frustrated as we as fans get, I know the players and the coaching staff is just as frustrated by the last couple of weekends as everybody else, more so, right? So I think you can tell with the fact that they run out so many different arms. They're just trying to figure out who is hot that day and who can give us a couple of zeros on the scoreboard or one time through the order, something. And they don't always have a chance to wait around. You know, you can't wait around to find out if a guy's going to be good. Sometimes you just have to make that move and hope you're making the right move. And, yeah, last night, I watched the majority of the game. It's fine. It is what it is against McNeese. But the guys who really need to step up are the guys that pitch in the majority of the innings Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
What do you think of Javen Coleman?
Good. Really good. I'm curious about his drop in velocity. You know, Rance did a great job of talking about it on the broadcast, and it was noticeable. I even saw it in Auburn. And I don't know what it's attributed to, right? I never had surgery, so I don't know if he's still getting his legs back underneath him. He's still building up arm strength. Maybe it's the heat, humidity. But for him to go to 94 in the next inning, he's at 88, and then in the third, he's at 86. Now, he was still getting people out, which is a testament to him. But that is a little concerning, but I like what you saw. He gets up to 50 pitches. Hopefully this week, maybe he can get to 65. If he cuts down on the walks, he probably gets another inning out of himself, So I'm encouraged. I really am. So I just hope in a couple weeks he can get you into the fifth. I think that would be fabulous, and I would imagine that's their plan. But it just shows you lefties don't have to throw 100, right? Lefties can still throw 89 to 92 and throw strikes. You can get a lot of good hitters out.
Where's your confidence in Ty Floyd right now?
Good. I'm still want to see him repeat it. I thought he was dominant. I was at the game. He had a runner on every inning, I think, for the first four. But the biggest change to me, and you saw it the first three innings at Auburn, and this is just my opinion, this is something I've noticed, but it seemed like early in the year he was, 85% fastballs, and they would just push the breaking ball and change up to the side. But it seems like the last couple of weeks they've been showing it. And even if you don't throw it for a strike, I think as long as you show that, then hitters have to respect it, and they just can't say we're going to sit on the fastball the first one or two times to the order, and we're just going to push everything else aside. So I think that's been the biggest change, is that he's showing those pitches early in the game, and he's been throwing them for strikes. And his fastball is he's been locating it the past 2 weekends, obviously except for the fourth in Auburn. So I'm encouraged, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him going up against Georgia this weekend on the road. And, man, if he could get to 5 or 6 again like he has the past couple of weekends, then I'd be really excited moving forward.
I asked you this last week. We'll do it again with a week's more information in our systems here. What about Travinski as being the starting catcher?
I'm fine with that. You see, I think he's good as a defensive catcher, but every now and then you see cracks in the game to where you think Milazzo may block, and I'm talking blocking only, may block a certain pitch, right? So obviously I don't know his rapport with the pitchers, but I think he has to be in the lineup, period. Whether you DH him, I'm not sold on Travinski at first base.
Yeah.
Put that out there on Twitter, but he's got to hit, period. You got to ride him. He's hot. He has a ton of confidence. It doesn't matter who he's facing or if he has 2 strikes. You've seen him hit massive home runs in important situations, and you've seen him do more than just hit home runs, right? So I think it's going to be Milazzo on Friday, Travinski on Saturday, the way it has been, and then Sunday flip a coin. But I would hope to see him, Thursday. I would hope to see him tomorrow night DHing if he's not starting catching.
I think there's a real chance of that, the way that he's hitting, and LSU's got to kind of lean in on what they're good at, and that's swinging the bats for sure. Right. You saw Jared Jones get a night off last night, and that happened once over the weekend as well. Where are you with him?
I just think he needs to continue to sit. I hate to say it, and he's a great young player. I just think he needs some time off. I think SEC pitching has figured it out, and I think he has trouble making adjustments, right? If he comes up with men on base, I would not throw him a fastball unless it was 3-2 bases loaded, because there's such a high probability that he's going to swing. You've seen him take really good at-bats before, but it seems like it's happened more lately. He just can't recognize or lay off really good breaking stuff. And I just think he's great for a pinch hitting role. I don't know what Jay's going to do this weekend. Like, LSU is going to face 3 left-handed starting pitching from Georgia. So does he roll into the lineup? Because Jay likes to go the matchups in favor of maybe Beloso. But I think maybe he needs to sit a couple more games. That's just kind of my opinion. He's just scuffling,
If Georgia does go with 3 left-handers, does Kling get a start at any point?
No. I think he's just going with who he's going, and he's going to be used as a defensive replacement. I think if he would have made that move, he would have made it a couple weeks ago, and it looks like they are going to go with 3. It looks like on Thursday, I think I saw Leah Van's tweet, and you were probably on there, they're going to go with Jarvis Evans, who's left-handed, and then on Friday they're going to go with Goldstein, and then Saturday Liam Sullivan. Those are the 2 guys I would expect. Yeah, I just put it out like an hour ago or 30 minutes ago. So it looks like they're not conceding the first game, but their 2 best pitchers are definitely game 2 and game 3. But I think he's going to continue to make defensive replacements or pinch running appearances, Paxton Kling, and that's just what I think is going to happen. I would imagine Joe Bear continues to roll out there in right field.
I'm very familiar with Goldstein and Sullivan. I'm looking at the pitching matchups that Leah sent out as well, and as you mentioned, Jarvis Evans will go. All I know about him is that he's a freshman that's thrown 17 innings this year, which to me just stands right in line with what Auburn did, holding Tommy Vale, and what Mississippi State did, holding Cade Smith, and Georgia doing it as well. And I can't blame them. If you are, put yourself in both teams' shoes here for a second. If you are Georgia and you realize that Jarvis Evans is going out there against Paul Skeens, and you're one of the other players on the roster, like, what goes through your mind?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I think if you're the coach on that team, you say, look, we're going to give you the start. All we need for you to do is just get us through 4. And then we're going to throw guys in the pen, and we're going to see what happens. I think everybody recognizes, even if you're on the opposing team, who Paul Skeens is. And the goal for them is to try to take 2 out of 3. And if that's your best solution, if you're on the other team, I don't think you say, oh, we're giving up or waving the white flag. I think you're trying to press your advantages. And if you feel more confident in games 2 and 3, then you're going to do that. From an LSU perspective, if I'm Ty Florida, Javen Coleman, then I'm getting mad at that, right? Because they're sending you a message. Like, we think we're good enough to beat you, just like Auburn did, right, when they held Tommy Vale. They're like, look, here's our ace against Floyd. We think he's better than you. So I think that, that's got to hurt your pride. That's got to give you a little fire in your belly to go out there and try to prove something, and stick it to them at home in their last SEC series. That's how I would approach it.
What's on the line for LSU this weekend?
I think you did a really good job when I was driving in town to talk about the regionals. To me, it's they just got to get back on track, right? They got to win this series. I mean, they don't have to. Even if they lose it, they're still going to be a top 8 national seed, I think, as long as they don't bomb out in the SEC tournament. But nobody that wants to go into the SEC tournament when teams are literally fighting for their regional lives and say, go win it, or the fact that you're coming off 3 losses in a row, because then there's going to be a lot of looks going around the room where maybe a lot of self-doubt creeps in. No matter how good the team is, you've been the consensus number 1 all the way up until the last 3 weeks. If you lose 3 weekend series in a row, there's definitely be some type of doubt that creeps in. So I think what's at stake for them is just to get back on track, to solidify a top 4 or 5 national seed by taking 2 out of 3 against a good Georgia team that can really, really swing it. And, just a chance to silence some of the naysayers and build some confidence heading into the postseason,
We'll talk next week. They'll be in Hoover, hopefully.
Yeah, no doubt. That sounds great, huh? Appreciate it.
He's Chris Demui, 60 feet 6 inch LSU baseball podcast, former Tiger left-hander. Enjoy chatting with him each and every Wednesday. When we come back, we'll close it out. It's On Palmer Show.
This is On Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. We'll recap LSU McNeese from the box, start taking a look at the Georgia Bulldogs. It's a Whiskey Wednesday, Pluckers trivia, lots of good stuff. Wednesday, 3 to 6, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, closing things down on a Wednesday. If you're on the streets out in the capital city, be careful. It's a wet one out there. hopefully that'll be it for the rest of the week. But this time of year, it's probably going to rain most afternoons. It's just the way that it is. Another thing that happens most afternoons, we play Take It or Leave It.
That is true. We usually do that. All right. EA Sports is bringing back NCAA football next summer with real player name, image, and likeness. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I was addicted to this game for a long time, my entire childhood through my college years. I haven't played a video game in a very long time. Just didn't transition into married life. But I'm all for it. That's a question I probably don't even want the answer to, is how many hours I played NCAA football games over the years, because I never got into anything that wasn't a sports video game. There were some golf games I played. There were some basketball games I played. There were some even racing games I played, like Cruising USA. But NCAA football wins by a landslide in terms of hours spent playing, dynasty modes, recruiting, all kinds of stuff. So bringing it back, I think, is awesome. I'm still just disgusted with whichever O'Banion it was from UCLA that ended up throwing a napalm on the entire thing. Not because he didn't have a point, because it ruined the video game, and that's what I care about. I don't really care about the athletes that aren't me getting paid. I care about me playing the video games, and for him to get it knocked off the shelf, really made me very mad, but I'm glad it's coming back.
The PGA Championship Champions Dinner. Take it or leave it.
So we talked about this, that Justin Thomas was having Reyes cater it. Then I got a picture of it. They got to cancel this dinner. This is, when you put this a month after the Masters Champions Dinner, and you're looking at a picture here that's got Rich Beam, Y.E. Yang, Keegan Bradley, Jimmy Walker, Sean McKeel. Not only are these guys prominently featured in this picture that I saw, there's no Tiger, there's no Jack Nicklaus, there's no Tom Watson, there's no Lee Trevino. Like, there's none of the greats of the game. It's a bunch of guys who played well for 4 days that are surrounded by McIlroy and JT and Morikawa. But the majority of these guys were non-factors for their entire career except 4 days, and that's the Champions Dinner. I'm done with the PGA Championship Champions Dinner.
Yeah, I mean they've got to get those guys. They've got to get the greats to go if they want it to matter at all.
And those guys want to go to Augusta and want to be a part of it. They don't really care about going to Oak Hill in northern New York.
Yeah. All right, sticking with the theme, Rochester, New York is home of the garbage plate.
Yeah.
Many local restaurants serve them up. A traditional garbage plate is your choice of cheeseburger, hamburger, white or red hots, aka hot dogs, especially those made by a local company, Italian sausage, chicken, or grilled cheese served on top of any combination of home fries, French fries, baked beans, and or macaroni salad. That's a lot of food. Take it or leave it.
So I have this in front of me, and this is at like a lot of local restaurants in Rochester, and some of the golf media guys are going to try this. So basically the way I would order a garbage plate at one of these restaurants, and I would say, I want a cheeseburger on top of French fries and macaroni. And that would be my garbage plate. And I got to be honest with you. You're looking at me, if you're watching YouTube, I'm 35 pounds overweight. I wouldn't consider myself in perfect shape or condition or a wonderful eater. I would love this. Just bring it on. Bring me the cheeseburger on the fries with the mac and cheese. Mix it all up. I'm good with all of it. My wife will not combine anything in the food world. Like, she wouldn't even eat like shrimp on her pizza because shrimp doesn't go on pizza. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. That sounds awesome. She's very particular about things. I'm not. I love cheeseburgers. Put it on the plate. I love mac and cheese. Put it on the plate. I love French fries. Put it on the plate. I'll mix it all up and eat it all together. I'm very much for Rochester in this way. Is it as refined as some of the culinary dishes across our great land? Probably not. That's why it's called the garbage plate. But I would eat it, so I salute this. And I can't wait to hear some of my golf podcasters tell me how they enjoyed their garbage plates this weekend.
Former Vandy ace Kumar Rocker tore his UCL and will have Tommy John. The Mets made the right decision not to sign him 2 years ago. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that. I mean, look, the Mets did draft him 10th, and then they didn't sign him. And he went back and played independent ball, and then he ended up going 3rd to the Rangers. And now he's going to have Tommy John his 2nd year of pro baseball. Tough break. Apparently, the Rangers are saying, we got the same medical that the Mets did. This is not related. This is an acute injury. He had a UCL tear like most pitchers at this point do. So I just hate it for Kumar. Obviously, it's nice that he got his payday. And the Mets may feel like they dodged a bullet, but I still think if you're going to take somebody 10, you probably need to sign them.
Independence Bowl has added the Big 12 as a tie-in.
Hey-o!
This makes the Big 12 a power league. Power 5 take it or leave it.
Take it, baby.
I'll take
you
it.
add the Independence Bowl to your bowl rotation, you have reached the big leagues. I have no bias here. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm from Shreveport. It has nothing to do with my fact that my dad was on the board for a decade. It has nothing to do with the fact that I went to 20 in a row. Just objectively, the Independence Bowl is one of the pinnacles of college football. And if you, as the Big 12, are able to bring that into your rotation and you can have that time slot in Shreveport, late December, 38 degrees, and you can play some pigskin, that elevates your league. I'm telling you. That was a little tongue-in-cheek there. That's going to do it here. I do like the Independence Bowl. Just not going to make you a Power 5 league. Jimmy Ott's Game Time tonight from 6 to 8. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra.